First of all, congratulations on this movie. It's just such a beautiful, special movie. And I'm just really excited to talk to you guys about it. I love that the movie focuses on chosen family and biological family. I feel like it's really rare that we get both playing a really big, complex role in a single movie. Luke, I'm curious why you wanted to include the arcs with Dylan's little brother and his mom, in addition to sort of him finding his people at the rodeo.
I really wanted to show this process of one finding chosen family, but also coming to terms with and sort of healing the connection to the biological family. I think that so often in stories like this, it's about finding the chosen family and like, that's it. And then like, too bad about your real, your biological family, like happy pride.
Yeah.
And I think that I just really wanted to offer something that was about kind of the discovery of both through that process of discovery in oneself. And also I think that into this world that we're living in, there's, the mom sort of represents this kind of older way of thinking, a bit more conservative. And I wanted to show that, even the proximity to this community opens her up to new possibilities and opens her heart, opens her mind, beyond these kind of confines of the labels and boxes that can't really contain who we are. And so, yeah, and the same thing for the brother too, that the way that he's given a space to explore and that's a healthy and normal part of growing up. So yeah, it was very intentional.
You've talked a lot about how you encourage improvisation, and I think that really shines through in how natural this dialogue feels. And one of my favorite lines is actually from you, Mason, when you're like, "Ah, this wind is so transphobic," because I feel like it just really captures how queer people actually talk to each other. I'm curious if you can talk about, Mason, finding those moments of authenticity, not only with Luke as a director, but also with your fellow actors.
Well, thank you for that. Was one of my favorite ad-libs, and I was this. I knew when I said it. I was Luke came over and was like, "I'm using this," because it was the wind really was transphobic at the. But the really amazing thing about this film and about the community that Luke sort of built within everybody who worked on it was there was this inherent trust and this like built-in comfort that I think we all had with each other as artists, as creatives, and just as people. And so Luke, put together a group of people that he obviously trusted enough to be able to say, okay, like when, we would talk through certain moments, but a lot of times things would just happen and things would come out. And it was always encouraged. It was never like, an affront to the creative process, which I think allowed us to really make the most out of certain moments if something organically was happening and we were responding to, the world around us like we would in real life, which you don't get every day. And especially not, when you only have 17 days to shoot on 35 millimeter film. Like
Yeah.
we had no business improving. We had no business improving. And yet like we still got such an okay with certain things. But also the script was such in such remarkable shape that it really informed so much of it. So yeah, I am forever grateful that Luke allowed me to be myself and to show up as myself and say stupid, silly things that I would say in real life as Carrie. And that, I got to act opposite people like Charlie, who are just so brilliant at really like being present and really taking in what's happening in the moment, because then that makes it actually a useful tool rather than a distraction.
Luke, you've talked about how you realized the rodeo could be a very homophobic place, and I feel like the Western genre has historically felt kind of similarly exclusionary in ways, but it's gone through sort of a renaissance in the past couple of decades. Do you have any recommendations for people, particularly queer people, who maybe want to branch out and start watching more Westerns?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I would say that for this film in particular, it was, well, let me back up and say most Westerns are about violence. That is so much of what the cowboy represents is dominance through violence. And so much of what we wanted to create was represent a cowboy that is more softer and is not afraid to feel, and learns the language of the heart as well. And so to me, I was looking to films like Paris, Texas, which, the conflict and the sort of drama in that film, or the tragedy rather, is not of country or of state, but is really of personal tragedy. And so that was a huge intention, us to kind of follow that lead of a spiritual journey of the characters, and to contrast that with these wide open epic landscapes as a symbol of those emotional landscapes that the characters go on. So I would start there.